Welcome everyone to the game between Arjun Erigaisi and Javokhir Sindarov here at the Tata Steel Chess 2026. This is round number 11 and Arjun Erigaisi is playing with the white pieces. A handshake here and off we go. Pawn to d4 by Arjun. And Sindarov, what is his opening going to be here? He plays pawn to d5 and Javokhir, well, he is an incredibly strong player. He won the World Cup this year, has been tremendous for him. He's trailing the leaders of the tournament. That's Nodirbek Abdusattorov by half a point. So this is a very important game for him. He goes knight to f6 here. And Arjun now goes pawn to c4. Sindarov brings his pawn to e6. We have a queen's gambit declined. Many queen's gambit declines happening on the day itself. And now c6 leads us to a semi-Slav. The main moves here are e3 and bishop g5, but Arjun goes queen c2. And this is actually played heavily by Matthias Bluebaum. So I wonder if Javokhir is well prepared against it. This is not played in too many games, but Bluebaum is an expert here. You can see Javokhir pausing in his tracks, thinking about the move that he wants to play here. He chops off the pawn on c4. And now pawn to a4, stopping the move b5 coming in. And Sindarov goes pawn to c5. He breaks in the center. And now Arjun, well, he can play pawn to e3 here, but it's also possible to simply take the pawn. This is all high level prep by Arjun. You can see him moving quickly. It's always the case when you face Arjun Erigaisi. He's really well prepared. But now if you see, the knight has come in. It's looking at the b4 square. And Arjun plays pawn to e4. He is weakening the d3 square, but he's also threatening the c4 pawn. The knight jumps in. It attacks the queen. The queen has to move away. Queen b1. He plays it. And now bishop takes c4. Is the threat. So he takes bishop c5. By the way, just so that you know, knight d3 check, takes, castles leads to a very good position for white. So that's the reason why he goes bishop c5, bishop c4. And now pawn to e5, opening up the bishop. There's pressure down on the f7 point. He goes short castles here. And black also goes short castles. Arjun has used only 2 minutes of his time, while Javokhir has used 19 minutes. It is now equal material, but if you look at the position, all these squares are a bit weak, right? Arjun goes bishop g5, pins the knight. Sindarov comes back and he goes pawn to h6, asking a question to the bishop. The bishop drops back to h4. Again, quickly played here by Arjun. There's no knight d5 coming in. He goes queen e7 because the knight on b4 controls that square. So Arjun quickly goes h3. Again, that is part of his preparation. And bishop goes to e6. Now, the bishops are opposite each other. Arjun chops off the pawn. If you take here, he's ready to take with the knight. And you know what Sindarov's best move is? To actually be okay with this pawn being given. He plays rook a d8. Now bishop takes on e6. We have queen takes e6 taken. And Arjun goes knight back to f3. He brings his knight back. And Sindarov now brings his rook to d3. He's putting pressure here on the f3 point. and you can't really allow bishop f3, rook f3, gf3, queen h3. So he pushes e5. If you take here, he wants to take ef6. So knight jumps out to h5, trying to get into the f4 square. And we have knight to e4, attacking the bishop. Now, the most amazing move is b6, and he finds it. Wow, what understanding here shown by Sindarov. He's ready to give up this as well. Rook a3 played. If you take, pawn takes, and I think white is doing fine. And queen moves into d5. He's attacking the e4 knight, also defending here. If you take rook takes d3, he'll take it with the knight back. Arjun does take rook takes d3. And although here white is a pawn up, somehow that material advantage isn't felt so much. The reason is that somehow black's pieces are very active. The e5 pawn is a bit weak. Knight goes back to c3, attacking the queen. I mean, you could have taken here, but b takes c5. Black is doing okay. Knight c3, queen c4. And now rook to d1, attacking the knight. Although I'm a bit worried about the f2 point. He goes rook d1. f2 is defended by the bishop for the time being. Arjun has 42 minutes, Sindarov 56 minutes. Well, he's ready to move in with his knight. He goes knight e5. I was wondering if he could go knight f4. That's also possible, but he takes on e5. And now knight takes e5, queen takes h4, and queen jumps into f5. That's what Arjun has played. He's lost his pawn, the extra pawn, but the material is equal, and now the position is also quite even. Pressure on the f2 pawn now. Attacking here, knight e4. And he plays it. Knight e4 attacks the bishop, also defends the pawn. He goes knight e2 check. The king has to go to f1. I mean, king h2 also possible. He goes king f1, attacks the knight. The knight comes back and hits the queen. It's possible to play takes, g3, queen e7, and knight c6, attacking here. It could lead to crazy positions, crazy complications, but he doesn't do that. He goes queen g4. Sindarov comes back and he's like, I don't want to trade queens. No draw, Arjun. Fight now. Well, Arjun takes the bishop. He takes back. Pawn takes. The black knight in the center is really well placed. It's like a huge octopus there, controlling all the squares. And he goes rook e1, defending his knight. Now threatening knight g6 with a fork. The queen goes to b7. He's putting pressure on the b2 pawn. Eyeing g2, queen b4 also coming in. Queen a6 check as well is a threat to take this pawn. Queen to e4 played. He's offering a trade of queens. And queen a6. Check. And king goes to g1. And now Sindarov takes the pawn. He goes queen takes a4. He tells Arjun, show me your compensation. Arjun moves his queen to d5. I think Arjun has the compensation. Queen is active. Knight is looking in this direction. Everything is looking okay. Queen a5 played. Attacking the rook here. And now rook to d1 played. by Arjun. He plays the rook here. And now black's compensation starts to, black's advantage starts to rise here. Queen c7. Where's the compensation? This move, rook d1, maybe slightly suspect. Rook e4 was better. Rook e1, he comes back. Rook d8, attacks the queen. The queen drops back to c4, attacking the f7 point. He goes rook e8, attacking here on e5. And pawn to f4. He goes g5 as well. Wow. The rook comes to d1. What a move, by the way, g5 by Sindarov. He's just fearless. By the way, Arjun is threatening takes, queen takes. So maybe rook d8 is the best move. He finds it again. So with players on 38th move, two more moves to make. Arjun goes rook c1, now attacking the pawn on c5. Usually, Arjun is able to save such positions because he will find ways to complicate matters and his opponents are unable to hold it, and f5 is a mistake. It's a big mistake. Should have gone knight g4 here to attack here, but f5, and now queen e5, fe6. Maybe white is okay, but the best move now, and that too on the 40th move, he is blundered. Knight f4 is just huge advantage. Now the main point that you have to notice is that queen takes c5 loses to rook d1 check and rook takes c1. So this point is a key moment, is a key thing. So he comes back knight g4, attacking the h6 pawn. And now h5. I'm pretty sure Arjun is unhappy with his position. What has happened here? h5. And somehow Sindarov is just playing some of the best chess here. And by the way, from a player like Javokhir Sindarov, these days you have to expect this level of play. He is becoming one of the best players in the world, which is why I would definitely put him at really great chances in the candidates tournament. Knight comes back to e4. And now queen e5. Just put the queen in the center, heart of the position. He goes queen b7. Slight inaccuracy, attacking the pawn on b2. And queen to c2 played. The rook jumps into d4, attacking the knight. And rook e1. And black plays queen b4, attacking the rook, attacking the knight. Might be a good idea. No, he goes knight d3, giving a small opportunity here, rook e2. Because if rook takes e4, I have queen takes d3. That's the point. He goes queen d2, attacking the g5 pawn. And now all sorts of threats. Maybe some point knight takes c5, knight takes c5, queen takes d4 is also hanging. Well, he comes back knight f4. The best move in the position, Javokhir. Queen c2 played. And now queen comes into b4, attacking the e1 rook and the knight. Queen c3, offering a trade. And Sindarov pushes a5. And he's like, Arjun, you take my queen. Arjun chops off the pawn on g5. And now queen takes queen. Spoils the structure. And rook d2 played. He also goes king f1. And now knight takes g2 is hanging. And also rook takes g2. He takes with, what is he taking with? The g2 pawn. He takes with the rook. Rook takes g2. And rook e4. Oof. He is attacking the knight here, but his own knight is hanging. The best move was h4 here. But rook e4. Now rook takes g5. And Sindarov finds it. Rook takes knight. Rook takes f4. And now king f6 is a very strong move. And plays it. Attacks the f5 pawn. Arjun goes after the a pawn. And rook g3 played. He comes back, defends his pawn, attacks c5. Later on wants to win this pawn. Sindarov goes and chops off the h3 pawn. King g2. Rook e3. What a nice move. And after rook takes pawn, now rook e5 is an excellent move. Because if you take here, this is a lost king and pawn endgame for white. So he goes rook c7 and now a4. Planning to put the rook behind the pawn and start pushing it. He goes behind the pawn here. And now rook e4. Defending the pawn. Rook to c7 played. And rook e7 played here. Again, the same idea to come here. Rook check. He can take the pawn. King f5. He takes it. And rook a6. Attacking the pawn on a4. Rook e4. Defending the pawn. And rook comes to c6. He goes rook e6. And with this, it's incredible the way in which Javokhir has played this game. I'm so impressed with his play. To beat someone like Arjun Erigaisi in this fashion is just commendable. Takes here, rook takes, and now just king e4 with the idea of a3, a2, a1, king d3, king takes c3. It's just over. Javokhir plays his king to e4. Arjun, well, he hardly has any options left. He resigns here and moves his king to d4. Javokhir Sindarov scores a win and he moves into the pole position in this tournament along with Nodirbek Abdusattorov. With 2 rounds to go, Javokhir Sindarov is showing the world why he is an incredible player here. And man, this guy is just so good. And today with Arjun, he played a close to flawless game, outwitting Arjun in his own line. That seemed like Arjun came with all the preparation and he quickly goes away. Well, 2 rounds to go. It's turning out to be a super exciting tournament.